Hey, ladies, we want you to mark your calendar for October 5th through the 12th, 2025, because we're taking you on an epic pilgrimage to Crete.
That's right. We're doing a beautiful retreat called Awakening the Goddess, where we are going to nurture ourselves from the inside out. You're going to be learning all kinds of sacred sexual practices from both the Taoist and the Tantric perspective. We'll be doing yoga every day. We'll be going and visiting sacred sites and really harnessing the energy of the primordial goddess, meaning the original divine feminine energy that is so alive on this island. I was just there last year and it was a game changer for me. And I was like, Leah, we got to put together the retreat that I want to go to. So this is it.
Yeah, there's something very special about women coming together and healing and awakening each other's Shakti to really resolve some of the blocks, some of the hurt, some of the traumas from the past, to shed that dead weight so that you can become more alive. You can become more magnetic, cultivating trust, cultivating vulnerability, cultivating presence, coming into a new state of consciousness in the arms of a group of really amazing women, sisters, and friends you're going to have for a lifetime, including Willow and I. So join us on the plane. Let's get this party started. You can sign up at sexreimagined.com and let's go to Greece, baby.
What if your life wasn't meant to be managed, but designed like a masterpiece? In a world that worships productivity, we've forgotten the sacred art of living. We've traded the wildness for efficiency, beauty for convenience, aliveness for autopilot. But what if your day could feel like a love poem to your soul? What if pleasure, presence, and purpose weren't luxuries, but your actual baseline? In today's episode, we're diving into the artistry of epic living, how to reclaim your life as a sensual, sacred, fully expressed creation. We'll explore the practices, perspectives, and energetic shifts that help you break free from the grind and step into the life that turns you on.
Wow, yummy. Y'all, my name is Leah Piper. I am with the beautiful Dr. Willow Brown. We are the co-hosts of the Sex Reimagined podcast.
That's right,
bitches. This is an LXW episode, so you better tune in, turn on,
and fall in love with us.
Welcome to the Sex Reimagined podcast, where sex is shame-free and pleasure-forward. Let's get into the show.
Well, I'm just kind of ready to dig into this topic with you. There's been a lot on my mind. I think part of this is coming from being in the day-to-day, a little bored. A little sick of the routine. I am wanderlust. I don't know. Sometimes I think, oh, it's because I've been in a long-term relationship for so long. Or it's because we're at a standstill because Matt's got these surgeries he has to do. And so life has just gotten smaller. And now I'm getting older. So everything's been affected by perimenopause and going like, I'm entering middle age. That means half my life has been lived. And now I've got this other half and I better make it count.
Right.
And so when I look at like the news and what's happening in social media and in our lives, I'm like, technology is it's so front and center. I'm so sick to death of the technology conversation. I'm so sick of algorithms. And I feel hungry for like the poetry of life. I feel like I'm a little nervous about the future. I'm a little nervous about future generations. It's like everything is so technology based that I feel like we're getting isolated and our worlds are getting smaller and we're forgetting about like, oh wait, no, I want to live the poetry of life. I don't want to live the technology of life. But Willow, it's not either or, is it? No. I don't need it to be either or. I want it to be an and, but I'm afraid we're going to lose the art of life and the love of life and the connection between others with all this technology mayhem.
Oh my gosh, I can relate. I had to do a digital detox yesterday and missed some appointments because of it. Just like couldn't catch it all. And I think it's really important to maintain a balance for yourself. I mean, the world is going to go where the world's going to go. And AI is definitely taking us in a whole new direction, especially in regards to sexuality. And I I think we have to kind of like keep dropping back into our own nervous systems and finding that place inside of ourselves where we can, be coming back to the computer or back to the phone or back to technology with energy. If we're coming to it drained, we're just going to get more drained. So it's really important, I think, to do digital detox days or hours at a time if possible.
Yes. And look at what all of this technology has been aiming to do for the last, decade or more it's to make life easier. It's to save us time. It's all about saving us time and being more efficient. Efficiency, time saving, efficiency, time saving, do more, get more done, be more successful. Like how many things you knock off on your list today. So it's kind of a paradox because on the one hand, it's exhausting. On the other hand, its job is to give you more freedom.
Right.
And this is where I was listening to Esther Perel today. And one of the things that she said that really struck me was like, we've never been more free.
Uh-huh.
And in the freedom, we've never been so alone.
Right.
And there's so many decisions to make in the freedom.
Yeah.
Where before, when you have less freedom, some decisions are being made for you.
Right. It's like
and
you're
those
either going to go. Yeah.
In some cases.
You're either going to go left or right. And now it's like you could go up, down, left, right, front, back, side to side. And it is creating a lot of, I think, the level of freedom that you're talking about, where it's like we have so many choices. If we look at the dating app world, it's like, oh, I didn't like the way that person drove, or I didn't like the way that person sipped their wine, or whatever. These tiny little things that you don't dig deeper with people, where it's so easy to just swipe on to the next person and move on to the next date. And right now we're seeing this, this current generation of young people who are not having the same social interactions. They're not having the same sexual encounters that, we were having when we were their age, because they don't know how to relate. Like they've been relating to a screen.
I think it might be different than that. I think it's that they're indifferent. Maybe that's because they don't know how to relate. But I really wonder if that's true. Is it really that's because they don't know how to relate? Or is it just that they were just raised differently? I mean, you and I weren't raised with computers or even high-speed internet. Remember dial-up?
Right.
Remember call waiting?
I remember flip phones. Yeah.
Yes. And wired telephones. Like we had these giant long lines of telephone wire so that you could take the phone into the dining room or into the
Totally. Yeah. It's just a different way of being raised in a different world. And I do think that freedom that we have now of like so many options and so many choices and so many different directions that we could choose to go kind of freezes a lot of people up. I've definitely been there where I'm like, fuck, I just can't decide it. You get to this point of decision fatigue where you're just exhausted from trying to decide which way to put your energy.
Well,
and I was talking with who was that? I was at a party the other night and I was talking to someone about our summit that we just did recently. And I was like, oh my God, the information was amazing. Like, there was all these different speakers speaking about how to have harder cock, in the morning, and how to, female sexual psychology and also the astrology of sexuality, and just like, and she was like, wow, that all sounds so fascinating. And a little bit of an older woman, she's like, and there's so much information out there right now. I could just see the overwhelm in her eyes just hearing about it, much less like signing on, logging on, and actually watching it,
Yeah, something even just like beyond sex, but like connections with community and friends. Like before Uber, you asked your friends to take you to the airport.
Yeah.
It's like taxis were kind of expensive and a luxury. So it was like you relied on your neighbors. You relied on a good friend or a family member to say, hey, I need a ride to the airport. Right. Now everyone's like, I can't be bothered to take you to the airport. Just get a fucking Uber. And I'm like, there's a part of me that's like, that's so fucked up. So even if you are like, oh God, I don't want to do this friend a favor, you end up getting in the car, you pick up your friend, you ride him to the airport, you end up having a really cool conversation, and you leave the airport feeling uplifted and loving your friend more. Like
totally,
you're not disappointed you spent that 45 minutes or maybe 2 hours or however long it takes to drop somebody you care about off at the airport. You feel nourished by that fucking car ride.
Right.
And I think these are the things we actually have to like take a pause and go, we in this rush to save time and to not be inconvenienced, we are robbing ourselves of connection. We're robbing ourselves of community, and our lives are getting kind of smaller and lonelier, even if we live with people.
Right.
And I'm a little discouraged by that. It's like I wanted to talk about this because I'm like, you guys, let's wake up. Let's recenter. Let's not lose touch with what gives our lives meaning, connection, and purpose. And we're about to head into a crazy future where a lot of that stuff is going to be done without our input.
Yeah.
We've got so many industries that are going to be operated by AI.
Yeah.
Because AI is going to do it better. I mean, look at copywriting right now.
Right.
You know,
Exactly.
writing books. I mean, people are going to have an idea and then they just spout it into AI, and then AI is going to write it 1,000 times better than they ever could.
Totally.
Hopefully we'll still buy those books and read them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Photography is about to go out the window. Hopefully not artistic photography.
Right.
But I mean, all the video stuff, the way they do movies, everything's going to change. And I'm a big believer in change. I'm not one of those people that hates change. I really embrace change.
Yeah.
Um,
We need to slow ourselves down through the change, because the change is not going to go slow, right? It already is not going slow. It's going very fast. And so we have to take responsibility for our own pacing through it all.
Yeah.
And listen. This is where these ancient tantric practices come in very handy. Is like you and I are so adept at listening to our nervous systems and listening to our bodies and listening to the moment. And so many of our listeners are great at listening too, and so I think that's the thing that you have to do. Like yesterday, I was like, I just cannot open my computer. Like, it's just not going to happen. I'm just going to take the whole day off. I'm not going to open it at all. And I felt so much better, so much more renewed. I was like ready to go today, And so sometimes it doesn't have to take a lot to find the balance. It just requires focus and connection, just like sexuality, turning on new levels of arousal. It doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to take a lot. It just requires focus and attention.
Matt and I did something fun this weekend, and it's probably going to sound so boring. But I don't know, my mother-in-law was visiting and she ended up pulling off on some suburb of Sacramento. And she was like, oh, this place is really cute. You guys should check it out. So we drove 30 minutes away to a suburb of Sacramento. We drove around the little town. We started feeling a little peckish. So I was in the mood for Indian. So I searched for Indian. It was 5 minutes away.
Nice.
And we just checked out this little town,
Great.
And we
we
listened to a podcast. We had interesting conversation as a result of the podcast. And
love that.
we had a nice dinner, and we just took around and said, oh, look, that new subdivision. I don't like that one. The trees are all young, but I love that old growth subdivision. That's where I would want to live, And then last night we sat down and did some Yab Yum, which Willow knows what that is. It's a type of it's a tantric lovemaking position or a meditation position. You don't have to have sex for this position, but you're sitting astride. Come to one of our classes. We'll teach you all about it. And it was just so sweet, and we just sat there and he was like nibbling on my neck and I'm giggling and, he's kind of rubbing my yoni. I've got panties on. He doesn't like go in or anything, but like I reached so many fun, joyous states of just connection and pleasure and kind of silliness. And I knew that happened because we did this little subdivision tour. Another town, it was like doing something new. Created a little bit of closeness, and we didn't just spend a lot of money to just drive down to another subdivision to take a peek at that life.
Exactly. And I think it's Gay and Katie Hendricks who talk about the pattern interrupt, like not just like the big life pattern interrupt, like go on a vacation, but throughout the day, like do something out of the norm, like sleep on the other side of the bed or walk down the hallway differently, or instead of like pecking your partner when you walk through the door, give them a big juicy hug and a giant kiss, or just whatever, just changing it up. It's so easy to get into routine, especially in relationships and especially around sexuality, that, is sometimes having those adventures like you guys had yesterday can like totally shift the dynamic in the home space too, which I think is so great.
Yeah, and it was really interesting to do something just simple, but out of the ordinary. And then the next day, that led to more connection, more presence. Him and I both love to like go to bed and read a book,
Yeah.
But guess what? We still went to bed and read the book, but we added 25 minutes of just really being with each other and looking into each other's eyes and laughing and giggling and pleasuring. And it didn't lead to anything other than, God, I fucking love you.
Yeah.
I'm so grateful you're in my life. We need more of this.
Yeah.
And we really talked about how important having something new is to like refresh our connection, because we just get in the habit of just doing the same old thing. And so I look forward to seeing what we're going to do today that's a little new. And I think for us, we needed something that's a little more time consuming than just let me greet you at the door with a kiss.
Yeah.
Because that's also turned into a habit.
Right. Exactly. Anything that turns into a habit, you need something else, right? You need something different. Yeah.
And that's kind of what I mean by like leaning into the poetry of life. Yeah. And I think like when we go out and we engage, whether that's just with our partner, but hopefully like I want to expand this outside of just sexual relationships. Like I know that I need to start engaging in a more intentional way with community at large. And I think sometimes I resist that. I don't know why. It feels like another thing I have to be responsible for. And I think that's where the mindset shift has to be in place. Like Esther was talking about, like, people need to come over. Those people, you love to sing. I have heard you, when you go to like a singing event, like a kirtan or something, you come back nourished, replenished, probably in a way that's even more significant than if you were just singing at home by yourself.
Way more.
And I feel that way about going to a comedy show.
Yeah, great.
And I get to like laugh with other people. And we're all having an interconnected experience.
Yeah.
Which means we're listening to someone on stage share something. And we're all experiencing the consequence of what they're sharing through laughter, so there's an interconnected play that's happening. Yeah. And it doesn't require us to have a conversation, but we're still having a shared experience.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Community. I mean, think about how like long before screens and cell phones and Instagram, what did we do? We sat around the fire and we sang together, or we laughed together, or we danced together. Like we were always in community. We were always in interaction with each other. We're tribal people. We're a tribal culture. Now, currently living in boxes, driving in boxes, and talking to each other through little handheld boxes. Right. We're all boxed up. It's like, it's really like, very isolating, and it's not our natural state. And so it takes a toll on our bodies. It takes a toll on our nervous systems. And that's why it's so important that we get out into nature every day, that we do something different, that we get into community, that we laugh with other people, we cry with other people, we just like connect and touch people who are not our partner even. Even if you're like in a partnership and you're getting some touch at home, it's still so good to go cuddle with a girlfriend, on the couch at her house or at a kirtan party thing or whatever.
Well, I mean, even like back in the day when we were growing up, like, what was on television? Like you sat down and you watched the show, regardless of whether you were interested in the show. Your family was watching the show, so you watched the show.
You watched it. Yeah,
you could have been bored, but you hung out. That's what there was to do. There weren't all these thousands of options on our phones where we end up isolating ourselves from the other people in the room, and we're having this solo experience of entertainment instead of having a shared experience of entertainment. And I think we're losing something as a result of like, we basically have computers in our pocket. And I'm not going to stop using the computer in my pocket.
Of course, right. That's not what this is
recommending
about.
That.
Yeah.
But it's about how can we just start turning towards on either side of us and notice like what is there And one of the things I've been doing is I've been going to this Buddhist center here locally, and on Wednesdays and Thursday nights. Wednesday nights is a refuge night, and those are people who are working with addiction. I actually really love those. I'm
Oh,
not really battling with any big addictions or anything, but I'm actually really enjoying those evenings quite a bit.
oh, cool.
There's a shared experience of struggle,
Yeah.
and I can relate to that even if
Yeah.
I'm not in
You
in the
had
depth of
addictions in the
it.
past. Yeah.
Totally,
So you
a
can relate.
thousand, yeah.
Yeah.
And I will probably have more in the future that come and go depending on what I'm trying to run away from.
Right. Right.
But they do this little reading. There was this one woman the other night who opened it up after 20 minutes of meditation, and she just shared her story of her path with meditation. And she lived in Santa Cruz the same time I lived in Santa Cruz. She
yeah.
went to the Insight Santa Cruz, which is the Buddhist community there when we
yeah.
did. So our paths were probably parallel. And it
Uh-huh.
was just lovely to hear her journey as someone just sharing their life, a stranger sharing her life. And
Yeah.
I had seen her every time I'd gone. So it was wonderful to like listen to her speak for 25 minutes about her journey. And we all felt like we knew her after her share,
Oh, yeah.
and now it's just going to be even more comfortable when I
Yeah.
walk in the room and I say hi to her.
Yeah. Exactly.
So there's
Community.
something community.
Community, people, more community. Yay.
And there's something to be said about community that's in person.
Absolutely.
You
Huge.
know, I think the reason why this feels so critical for me at this time in my life
Mhm.
is since moving to California, 16 years now, from Oregon, I never have had since living here like a super core group of homie friends. Every other iteration, wherever I've lived in the past, I always
You've
had my
had
girls.
that. Yeah.
Now everyone is dispersed.
Right.
So I'm in connection, but not like in person.
Right.
You know, you and I visit with each other almost every day,
Right.
but we're not in the same town. We're not
Yeah.
running the errands to Home Goods.
I wish we were, because yesterday I had to go shopping and I was like, fuck, I wish Leah was here. And I had like 3 girlfriends. I was like, I wish this girlfriend, that girlfriend, and this
Well, I
girlfriend would
was
go
on
shopping with
FaceTime.
me. I know you did
We
help
did
me.
work on outfits.
Actually, I got some really cute outfits I gotta show you
Oh,
for
great.
this video shoot. But anyway, it's just, I know it's hard being in a new place without your girlfriends. I think you should move to Santa Barbara.
Let's take a quick break.
Ladies, do you want to explore your sexuality and experience true sexual healing?
The Vaginal Orgasms Masterclass teaches you and your partners how to unlock your full sexual potential and awaken the G-spot, the sacred spot, and the cervix for an unforgettable sexual experience. Would learning how to finally surrender and release grief, fear, and uncertainty benefit your outlook on life, love, and relationships? We certainly think so. Common misconceptions of the G-spot, including its anatomy and function as an erogenous zone, will be covered in this course.
Plus, we're going to teach you 7 different massage strokes for the G-spot that dissolve blocked energy and increase your pleasure tenfold.
We're going to teach you how to locate the sacred spot and the best methods to stimulate it for maximum pleasure.
And you're going to learn about cervical orgasm techniques, which are the most powerful and also often elusive style of climaxing. You know, this class is primarily geared toward women, but men have taken it as well and learned so much about how to pleasure their partners.
So get ready for multiple O's, my friends. And you can get all of that at sexreimagined.com/female-masterclass. And for being a listener of the show, we've got a beautiful coupon code for you. It is 20% off this course. Just type in podcast20, that's all caps, podcast20, and get yourself a great deal on this on-demand course. Yeah, I know. I've been thinking about like, what would it be like to downsize and spend less money?
Yes.
Do more other things, more experiential things.
Yeah,
Instead
more
of having
experiential.
things,
Right.
having experiences. That's another thing I'm on my mind.
I like
So
it. I
I'm
like
really
it.
curious from our audience, like,
What are some
what
of
do
the
you
things
guys
that
do
you
for
like to
community?
do? Yeah. Tell us in the comments.
And like, what are you worried about as AI takes over our life? And how do you manage decision fatigue? Because decision fatigue is a real thing.
Yeah.
And how can we slow down and invite more connection? Because someone's going to have to lead this. And if you're listening, I'm inviting you to lead it. I'm inviting myself to lead it, because waiting around for someone else to tell us how to do this, we're going to be in a worse off place if we're waiting someone else to solve this problem of, loneliness versus connection.
Well, let's talk too a little bit about how do you think that this, very fast-paced digital world is depleting people's relationship to their own sexuality and their curiosity about exploring it with others?
I think the big thing is we're getting numbed out. So we're losing touch with being sort of in our emotional body.
Yeah.
Which is where that's why connection feels so good, is because it actually brings you into your emotional body.
Yeah.
It gives you a feeling of well-being.
It's like medicine.
And sometimes sometimes we shun emotions as if like they're the bad thing. So the alternative is like, what? So we're just like going to numb out and not feel anything at all.
Right.
I think emotion is what brings the variety and the juice to life. Let's not run away from that. Let's actually be really, really present to that. And let's seek out feeling great with other people.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. I'm working out with a girlfriend and with a personal trainer, and I'm like so glad we're doing that together.
Oh, that's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. And I can feel myself getting stronger. And not that I feel like someone's pushing me, but she's inspiring me to like increase my weight and increase my reps.
Yeah.
And so like every week I'm staying at the gym longer when I'm working out on my own.
Nice.
And like, so I feel this sense of vibrancy and like resilience. And, you and I just kind of have gone through sort of a stressful period with business launches and stuff like that. And I feel like I'm starting, like, I'm like, oh, I need an attitude change around all of this.
Yeah.
I'm sick of feeling like these things are a burden.
Right.
Versus something to be completely excited
about.
Like, I can't wait to be live with people. Like, I can't wait for this trip to Greece. And the people who are coming are like the absolute right people for this experience. And we're going to go so deep with them. And I'm going to feel a part of myself that maybe I haven't been in touch with. And I can't wait to touch that part of myself again. And I know I will.
Yeah.
Because the perfect people are registered.
Yeah.
And there's going to be even more people who register. And so if you feel the call, I'm talking to you, baby.
Come to Greece.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Yeah. In fact, I've been studying Greek mythology. We both have in different ways. You're listening to a book and I'm watching this really cool series on, I don't know where I found it, on Amazon or something. But anyway, it's a really, speaking of getting back to poetry and getting back to like the song of life and the art of living, the art of life, like the Greeks, man, they were all about it. And the stories.
And they were all about sex too.
They were all about
fun.
sex.
God,
they really were. They really weren't holding back on that shit. It was great. And so it's just so cool to like, see like how the ancient cultures and to bring some of that into our modern culture. Like we can bring, and that's what we do, is we bring these ancient sacred sexual techniques to modern day people. But, we can also bring so much more of what sensuality and what sexuality is. I mean, eating an orange could be the most sensual thing you do that day if you open yourself up to that, right? I know.
Yeah.
Leah loves oranges. You know what she does? She puts them in the refrigerator so that the skin gets hard around them. And then she eats them and they like crunch.
They pop.
And that is quite good.
Yeah. It's interesting, back to poetry, because I don't really love poetry as like an actual thing. But I love the art of life and I love the meaning of what poetry is. But, funny enough, I went to the local dungeon here in Sacramento called the Battery.
Oh,
and it was great. I've been meaning to kind of check it out.
Yeah.
And they had a poetry night. And that was what we were attending, because I was supporting a new friend.
Okay.
And she was putting it on. And, oh, God, she had a great name. It'll probably come back to me. It was wonderful. It was
Nice.
lovely listening to people's raunchy poetry. And even and then one person read some famous author who I wrote some famous book from like
some
200
famous time.
years ago. I think he was an Irish bloke. And
probably.
anyways, him and his wife would write these dirty letters to each other.
Oh.
And so she read one of the dirty letters. That was my favorite reading of the night. It was so good.
That's fun.
So you didn't have to read your own poetry.
Yeah.
You could read anything. Yeah. The naughtier, the better.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. So I will definitely go back and I will prepare something.
I love that.
Another reason to be in community and play with artistic expression.
And write a poem. I used to write poems all the time. I had books.
You seem like the poet type for sure.
Of poetry. By the time I got out of high school,
I bet you're a good poet.
I was a great poet. I mean, I am a great poet. I just haven't written any in so long. But yeah, it would be good. It would be fun for me to do that again.
Yeah.
I used to be very artistic too. I would make little paintings around my poems and things. I mean,
well, this is where I think this is a very interesting phenomenon because this is where people would go to church and there would be an outlet. People come together. There's an interconnected experience.
Right.
Every weekend you could look forward to it.
Yeah.
You would catch up with your neighbors.
Yeah.
And you took time
community.
out.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like it produced a giant result. It was you prayed together, you might have sing together, you might, and we don't have that so much. I mean, religion the statistics are dropping down every single year. People aren't called to that the way they used to be, but we're missing something by missing that. So I think for us to still have a place to gather and be in a group without this giant purpose, it's going to produce a giant result. It's just, it's kind of like you come together and you go to the park and you just watch the kids play or you eat a picnic,
Right, exactly.
It's not producing a result or achieving a goal, but I think what it does is it allows us to come together and maybe dream together.
Totally. Which totally enhances your sensuality and your sexuality. It stimulates places in your brain that stimulate places in your body that you want stimulated. It
increases well-being, and when you feel good, you want to
so crucial.
Maybe get your body next to somebody else's body and feel even better.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, dance is a really beautiful way to get into your body and to be in community. They have all these ecstatic dances all over Santa Barbara, and I've gone to some of them. And it's just fun to see people be in their fullest expression, and that. I think that's one of the things that we love about the arts is it's so inspiring because it's that's somebody's expression. That's what's in somebody's heart. And I think we get kind of stuck on well, there's got to be a right way to do that. There's got to be a right way to express. I don't know if I'm doing it right. I don't know if I could get up and speak my poem to the group at the dungeon, I don't know if I could get on the dance floor and move my body in the way that feels right for me. Am I doing it right? And so anyway, that kind of came through for me last night. I was having a very deep journey and I was just surrendering to the way that it was rather than any kind of constructs around the way that I thought it should be, and I think that's
good point.
One of the big things that holds us all back, especially the youth, the younger generation. It's there's so much doubt and uncertainty and what is right anyway in this world today with all the crazy mega changes that we're going through, the whole concept of right and wrong. That's why this dualistic, this or that, right or wrong, left or right is kind of a prison to our expression and our truest essence.
Yeah, well said. There was something Esther Perel spoke about, and she was talking about her parents who were Holocaust survivors. And both of her parents lost every single member of their family. They were the only ones that survived. And in this village that she lived in Belgium, it was basically a community of Holocaust survivors. Wow. And she said there were two types. There were those who did not die, and then there were those who lived with a vengeance.
Wow.
Because they survived.
Gives me the
They
chills.
didn't die. they survived, and by God, they were going to make
They're
this
gonna
life
live.
count. And
Yeah.
she goes, I feel very grateful that my parents, she goes, you go over to your friend's parents and you could tell which ones just didn't die
Right.
versus which ones were like, I'm going to live.
Survivors.
Yes. I'm going to
Wow.
live with everything I've got because I've got
God, that's
this chance.
deep. Wow.
So deep. And I
That's
really,
fascinating that her parents
to
were
live
both.
with a vengeance. And I don't even know if that was the exact quote. It might have been even something like, I'm going to have fun with a vengeance or something.
Ugh. Probably live with
Yeah,
them.
yeah. There was something about like using that language together that made me like, yes, I want that too. I want the next 40 years I have on this planet, hopefully,
Yeah.
to be filled with life.
Yes.
Not just humdrum. Here we go.
Right.
Where I'm spending my days going, God, I wish I didn't have to do that. God, I wish I didn't have to do that. God, I wish I didn't have to go to this appointment.
Right.
God, I wish I didn't have to have this phone call.
Right.
God, I wish so I could just sit around I get to be on this phone call. I get to have this appointment. I get to sit in my backyard and enjoy it all.
Yeah.
Live it all.
Yeah.
God, I
Guess
just
what
really needed that wake-up call.
Guess what I'm going to get to do? This morning, I went and checked out this place that I'm going to stay in September, which is on this property. Okay, here's a little fun story example of, changing your perspective and calling in the magic. So one morning, I woke up in my, Santa Barbara, beautiful house, the most beautiful house I've ever lived in. However, I live with a total cuckoo bird. And we meet
a monster. I think cuckoo birds might even be nicer than this person.
Yes, she's a monster. So we're both, moving out at the end of August. Hallelujah, thank God. And so I have to find a place to live for just the month of September because then I'm going to Europe for like 6 weeks, right? So I don't want to just rent another place right away. So I was like, woke up with that kind of heavy feeling of what you're talking about. Humdrum. Here we go. How am I going to find? What am I going to look for? I got so much on my plate, plus now finding a place and moving. And so I take River for a walk on the beach, and it's super early in the morning. And there's this waterway. You have to walk through the waterway to get to a certain side of the beach, which I generally don't walk through because I don't like to get my feet wet and cold and sandy. So, but this morning I was like, okay, no, I'm going to do it. Getting cold, wet, sandy feet. Here we go. Walked through, and I went down to the side of the beach that I love. And I walked down to the very end, and nobody's on the beach. And it's just perfect, glorious Santa Barbara morning. I get to the end, and as I'm walking this whole time, I'm like, okay, I need some magic today. And I know from all the Joe Dispenza work that I've done, like, if you want magic, you got to be the magic, baby. So I was like, okay, here I go. I'm going to do all my practices as I'm walking, and I'm pulling the magic up, and I know how to be the magic. I'm going to be the magic. By the time I get to the end of this beach, where there is not a single soul on the beach, this woman comes out of the rocks, like literally appears out of the rocks, right? And so then we strike up a conversation, and I'm just going to ask her, hey, do you know anywhere to rent around here? Turns out they're building like a tiny home on their property, which is right there on the cliffs on my favorite beach of all time. And so I'm probably going to move into their tiny home once it's built and done and ready. But they're still building it. But today I went over, I'm like, and she's like, you could stay in our motorhome. It's super nice in the month of September. So I went and looked at the motorhome today. I'm like, it is so cute. It's just adorable. It has a little fire pit outside, little 2 chairs. It's right on the beach. And like, we literally walk, like, don't even get in the car. Now we're just on the beach. So I went and saw that today. So like, it's just such a testament to we can create our own magic.
Yes.
Here's another inspirational story. I just got off a call with a couple. They've been together for 32 years. They came from our summit. Leah's going to talk to them later this week. 32 years. They've got kids, and they are in a whole new marriage, having the best sex of their life. They're in their 60s.
Hallelujah.
And they're just, he was so cute. He's like, yeah, I finally found my woman after like 30 years. It's just such a testament to like the perspective shift that is possible when we just do it.
Right. God,
Commit
that is so
to it.
inspiring. Yeah. Well, so you might be asking yourself, what does this conversation have to do with reimagining sex?
All kinds.
All kinds. All kinds. Because sex weaves into everything. And how we look at our neighbors, I think, can improve our sex life. How we look at the food that we eat, I think, can improve our sex life. How much exercise we get each week, it can improve our sex life. The kinds of conversations we have with our neighbors can improve our sex life because it improves our mindset. It improves how we look at ourselves and the world and how we want to be connected to it. And when we feel connected to life and to the universe and to the world and to our communities, we have an ability to connect to our partner on a profound and deeper level because we're showing up. If we can show up out there in a strong way, then who we get to be in our most important relationships ends up being limitless.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
limitless is the way to be.
I'm looking forward to greeting my husband with more of myself, so that he gets to be with the Leah, hopefully more and more each day in this coming year, that's less like whining and complaining about all the things she has to do. In fact, I think we're both going to enjoy the version of her.
I think so. I'm excited for her too.
Yeah. So hopefully that inspires all of you out there. Remember that we love having this conversation offline. You know, we love having this conversation in these little chat threads. And we hope that if you enjoyed this conversation, that you share this episode with someone else who might enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. And do let us know in the comments what you're doing to build community, what you're doing to create more poetry and more connection and more artistry in your life, because that's going to inspire not only us, but everyone else who's tuning in as well.
Yeah. Okay. Love, love, love.
Thanks for tuning in. This episode was hosted by Tantric sex master coach and positive psychology facilitator Leah Piper, as well as by Chinese and functional medicine doctor and Taoist sexology teacher Dr. Willow Brown. Don't forget, your comments, likes, subscribes, and suggestions matter. Let's realize this new world together.
Hey guys, what would it be like if you could last 10 times longer when you're having sex?
We are going to teach you how to gain massive confidence as a lover, all without performance anxiety, gimmicks, or prescription.
This course is perfect for you if you've ever been mortified by a sexual encounter that ended way too early.
Or if you've ever avoided intimacy out of fear that you won't last as long as your lover desires. Or maybe you long to give your partner multiple orgasms but can't last long enough to make that a reality.
Well, good news, we've got your back, and it's in our course, Last 10 Times Longer. Go to sexreimagined.com/last-10x-longer.
And for all of our favorite listeners out there, we are giving you a discount, 20% off, y'all. Just put in podcast 20, all caps, podcast 20, to get your 20% off of this phenomenal course that you're going to want to review more than once.
We cannot wait to see you inside this course. Plus, don't forget, we always got tons of bonuses. See you there.